Hello, and welcome back to Mr. B Teaches History. Today we'll examine the War of 1812, which, you guessed it, started in 1812. We don't need a lot of time on this war because it wasn't a long war to begin with. It started in 1812 and ended in 1815. We fought against Great Britain, but most of the military we faced were Canadian regulars, who were part of the British Empire at the time. So let's get to it. The War of 1812 started for several major reasons. First, Americans felt there was no respect for U.S. neutrality in the affairs of Europe. Secondly, the British were practicing impressment of American sailors, though that stopped just before the war began. Thirdly, the United States wanted to expand their territory more into Canada and Florida, and felt a war was a good way to accomplish that task. And lastly, the British were continuing to provoke and aid Native American Indian peoples to attack American settlers in the western frontier. The war was supported by a group of young representatives from western states who wanted to defend American honor, gain Canada, and destroy Native American Indian resistance. Despite this, the Congress and citizens of the United States were divided if they should go to war with Britain, and this is expressed in the election of 1812, whose results split among regional differences. New England merchants, Federalists, and the old Democratic Republicans all opposed to going to war for different reasons. Merchants were afraid it would cost them trade. Federalists saw the same scheme to conquer Canada, and the old Democratic Republicans thought that the war violated the principles of limited government and wanted to maintain peace. Once the war was declared, the United States took the initiative to invade Canada in a three-pronged attack in retaliation to the British attacks on American vessels and forts on the Great Lakes. Unfortunately, the attacks failed to gain any territory for the United States and also anger the Canadian regulars, who then go on the offensive, leading to the eventual destruction of Washington, D.C. and the burning of the White House. The United States did experience some small victories during the war, especially in naval warfare. These victories were because the United States had superior shipbuilding, courageous sailors, and privateers capturing many British ships. The United States used privateers because we did not have a large navy, so they enlisted the help of private ships and crews to help fight the war. In return, these ships got to keep anything they captured from the ships they took. The other major source of American victories was the Southern Campaign commanded by future President Andrew Jackson. In his campaign, he eliminated the resistance of Native American Indians in the South and opened up Alabama for settlement. He also led the outnumbered American soldiers in New Orleans to victory 2 weeks after the peace treaty was signed in France. The Treaty of Ghent, which ended the war, came about due to the stalemate on both sides, and President Madison knowing that a decisive victory was not possible. The treaty halted the fighting, returned any captured territory, recognized the Canadian border, but there were no concessions on the impressment of American sailors or blockades of American ports. Practically, though, the war had several positive and negative effects on the United States. First, the United States gained the respect of other nations for not losing to the world power of Great Britain. The war cemented Canada as part of the Empire of Great Britain too. This war led to the end of the Federalist Party since they threatened to secede the New England states from the Union at the Hartford Convention in 1840, which made them look weak and unpatriotic. This action, though, set a precedent eventually used by the South to secede in the Civil War over 45 years later. This war also forced many Native American Indian people to surrender and start heading west to reservations, or just to escape American settlers. The war moved the United States to an industrial self-sufficiency since it could not rely on British factories for goods and products during the war. It also created a new generation of heroes for American citizens and increased the growing sense of American nationalism and the belief that the future was in the West away from the problems of Europe.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or clarifications you would like to make about this lecture, please leave a comment below. If you learned something new, please consider leaving a like. If you would like to receive notifications of more content like this, please consider subscribing and ringing the notification bell. If you would like to support this channel and creator financially, please check out the links in the description for merchandise or sites that will provide me direct financial support for the work of this channel. Thank you for your time and have a great day. Class dismissed.